Good afternoon and welcome to Wednesdays in the Hub. Today we have the fourth in our series of 30-minute updates on scam and fraud trends. And we have with us investigator Denis Niland and investigator Gailes. They are going to speak to us today about auto repairs and purchasing vehicles, not just automobiles. So we're very anxious to hear what they have to share with us and to keep us on our toes as we face the summer and possible vacations and outings, and we want our vehicles to be in good repair. Denis, it's all yours.
We'd like to thank you on behalf of Bergen and Passaic County Consumer Affairs for having us today. We're just going to touch on a little bit about our department and then go into if you're going to purchase, lease, even getting your cars repaired, what to watch out for. Some are opinions of ours and recommendations, and others fall right into the law. So I'm going to move on to the program at this time. I've got visuals for you, PowerPoint. And once again, on behalf of Division of Consumer Affairs for Bergen and Passaic County, thank you for having us today. A little bit about our division. We have three functions. We do investigations, enforcement, and education outreach programs. Since 2017, we have a shared service agreement with Passaic County, and it's been working out really well. And it saves both counties money. Part of our investigations, the biggest the volume that comes in is automobiles and vehicles, dealing with frauds and different things like that, and also home improvement and furniture stores, people buying furniture. Today we're going to talk about the number one thing, cars. We do work with other agencies sometimes, depends on the type of case, and often there's certain professions that are technical licenses that we refer back to the State Attorney General's Office, Division of Consumer Affairs, where they have boards such as the Medical Board, Veterinary Board. There's 46 boards in total that people have technical licenses that they process and oversee. We do a couple different outreach programs. So if you want one for your organization or anything like that, you're welcome to contact us. They're free. We could do them virtual, or hopefully we'll be back out in the field in Bergen and Passaic County in the near future. A lot of the cases either come in from the Attorney General's office or from residents of Passaic and Bergen County call us direct. Then we start a case file, and it's assigned to an investigator to follow through on that case. All the investigators are trained by the Attorney General's office, and in our office, all the investigators are retired law enforcement officers. We have a great website that has a lot of information, a lot of links and contacts, how you file a complaint. You could download a complaint form. There's also some publications that you could read if you have problems such as identity theft that will help you in the process. We do have a Facebook page too. Has a lot of information, not a lot of fluff, things on scams that are occurring, recalls that are happening. So it could save you money, could save your life, but we try to put up good content so it will be helpful to you in the future. When the complaints come in, usually you'll talk to someone that screens the call, and they'll help you sort things out, whether it's a consumer fraud or consumer dispute. I always say what's legal, what's right and what's legal, sometimes they're two different things. So in order for us to follow through on it, it has to be a law that we can enforce. Sometimes things are civil, sometimes they're criminal. We sort that out, and sometimes it could be both. We could write violations to if they're violating the law to the business or the business owner. And also sometimes we're able to get back restitution for the consumer. It doesn't matter what kind of investigation, but the more help from the consumer, the better the case. So if you have start having a problem, say at a car dealership, the best thing to do is keep notes every time you talk to them, every time you go there, who you dealt with. For the case jacket, we're going to need things like the bills and receipts and documents that prove that the business is in violation of the law with some type of fraud. And also the way you pay also helps us out too, and will help you. You get more protection with a credit card than you do wiring money, paying cash, writing a check out. So you have the least amount of protection any type of wire transfer. We're never going to get the money back if you do that. And basically, we investigate the complaint, give the business a notice of investigative findings which point out which laws were violated. They may agree to a mediation talk or settlement talk. If not, we write a summons, they go to court. Most times, if they don't show up for court, there's a warrant put out for their arrest. We usually write the owner of the business. And like I said before, some cases go directly to the state, like the professional licenses, lemon law, and things with moving companies. This just happens to be a home improvement contract, but with any contractor, you sign things for vehicles. Make sure you read everything. There's a case that I did, and it was a driveway case, and the price was like $21,000, but in very small writing on the bottom, it said if there's more than one layer of blacktop, there'll be additional charges. And it turned out to be another $6,000 added to the job. So make sure you read everything. Okay, let's get to buying a car, leasing a car, buying a pre-owned car. We're going to talk about it. It starts a lot with advertising to entice you to go shopping. Or if your car is breaking down, getting old, you're like, maybe I should look into maybe getting another vehicle. Or at least shopping or seeing what's out there. So you have the right to receive important information that's accurate, including material terms and conditions that will be part of your lease or your sale, without having to endure any undue sales pressure and confusing or mysterious language. And I'll show you some of the terminology a little later. But the first thing we want to watch out for, we see a great deal in the paper. Or we go down there and they have one car out. And we've had complaints on this before. Alan will tell you that sometimes you leave there, you got a different VIN number, and it's a different vehicle actually. It looks the same, but it's not the one that was in the ad. Or you saw the ad and you have the price and they give you a different price, or refusal to show or display the advertised vehicle. We'll do the paperwork, and you don't get to see the car right away. So you have a right to see the car, test drive the car, unless the vehicle's been sold or leased. So today these laws apply to new, used, and leased cars. So you're going to want to know the total price, the monthly payment, deferred payment price. These are all things that you probably want to know in the beginning. So mandatory disclosure requirements. This is what they have to tell you in the ads. They got to have the business name and address. They got to, the price is everything except for licensing costs, registration fees, and taxes. And all this writing has to be at least in 10-point font. The manufacturer's suggested retail price as it appears on the Maroni label. Clearly, the MSRP is what is the real price you'll be paying with everything. The year
The
make.
manufacturer's suggested retail price, MSRP.
That's important to know. The year, make, model, how many engine cylinders of the advertised vehicle, and standard equipment on the advertised motor vehicle. The provision does not apply to motorcycles. You also got to put the last 8 digits of the VIN number, so this way you could double check and make sure that they're not giving you a different vehicle. The odometer reading, the nature of prior use, if it's pre-owned, was it just used by a personal use or was it used for a business, and if this vehicle was a demo. And pretty much the same thing applies if you're going to lease the car. That they have to put that it's a lease in the ad, the amount of payment at the inception, if any, the number of amounts, dates, and the length of payments. And they also have to have a toll-free number if you want to request any additional details while that sale is ongoing. And they have to have that number available for 48 hours after the sale ends even. Again, written ads must be in 10-point font. That's pretty small, but it's big enough to read if you got your glasses on, like myself. The business name and address. The consumer may request information mailed. Also is the transmission standard or manual, the year, make, model number, and number of cylinders, and the last 8 of the VIN, and if it was also a demo model.
And the reason that's important is because now, especially with your high-end cars, your Mercedes-Benz, your Lexuses, your Porsches, they are allowed to lease used pre-owned, certified pre-owned vehicles.
And I don't know if it's the next slide, but if the vehicle was ever in an accident, they have to notify you of that. If they have knowledge of that, and sometimes that it's happened in a few cases where during transportation of a new vehicle, the vehicle's in an accident, and they may repair the vehicle, and it looks like new, and it is no mileage, but it's been in an accident. So I actually know somebody that had this happen to them, and they found out at a later time the car was in an accident before it was sold, and they ended up exchanging the car for a new vehicle. So that may not happen all the time, but that's what happened in that case. Vehicle leasing. Actually, this is still for leasing or sales. Some suggestions don't reveal everything in the lot. The sales guy may come over, how much you're looking to spend, or, are you trading something in? Don't discuss the financial business in the parking lot. Just say, I'm just looking right now and, want to see what's out there. They may try to ask qualifying questions, the value of your trade-in, how much do you want to spend every month? Because if they know that, then they start working the numbers in their head, which way to push you in which direction. Carfax is very good. It's not 100% for pre-owned vehicles, but it is very good and gives you a reference point. And with these sales of the car, they probably make about 26% profit on the car sale itself and 74% profit on finance and insurance. All the extras that are added on to the sale of the car. So they may ask you a question, questions while you came up with the car you're going to buy, you're sitting down, you're with a different guy now, and he says, who do you want to have the vehicle free and clear if something happens to you? He doesn't say, I'm selling you a life insurance policy to cover the vehicle. So he dances around to make that sale of the insurance. And then they add in things sometimes like vehicle etching for theft protection. Will this prevent the theft? No. And you may be covered under like an umbrella policy under your homeowners too, besides. Delivery fees, only pay what's on the factory sticker, and dealer prep fee, don't pay or put up, or if they make you pay for it, put it on the manufacturer's survey, because they're not supposed to make you pay for a dealer prep.
The other thing that's important too is when you're leasing a car, and the reason it's good to know about the insurance policy and things like that is because when you lease a car, the legislature was looking into changing the law, but as of now, the law still states that if you lease a car and you pass away, whoever you're still responsible, your family or your executors would still be responsible for that lease. It doesn't go away. So that's why that's important.
So if something happens and you still owe money on the car,
right,
they're going to come after you. So Don't leave it sitting in the driveway forever. Either sell it or make a deal to trade it back into the dealership as soon as you clear your paperwork and put it in your name. If they try to charge you anything for like advertising charges, because this is a special sale, that's all a scam. There's some dealerships that charge ADMU, additional dealer markup. Oh, these cars are very hard to come by. This is a first edition. It should go by what's on the sticker. You shouldn't be paying higher than that. And if you can make a deal, then it gets lower. But don't let them drive up the price on you. And things like pinstripes, there's a huge markup on that. And you could get it done on your own for a lot cheaper. But they try to roll it into the monthly price. So it looks like you're not paying a lot, but it adds to it.
Oh, and let me interject here on those dock fees. Mm-hmm. Dock fees will vary. There's no cap on dock fees in the state of New Jersey at this time. And the higher end the vehicle is, the more your dock fees will be. So they can be as low as $250, and I've seen them as high as $795.
So you want to talk about this being an authorized vehicle dealer? No.
Oh yeah. An authorized vehicle dealer. To be an authorized vehicle dealer in the state of New Jersey, to be a new car dealer, you have to have at least 1,000 square feet of display and at least 2 places where cars can be repaired. To be a used car dealer, all you need is an office with 72 square feet, a phone, a file cabinet, copy machine, and a desk. Basically, that's it. They're also supposed to have a place to display at least 2 cars that are for sale. State of New Jersey has been very open with how they allow that to happen. So we actually have buildings that are full of car dealerships, but all they are is offices. There's no actual car. There's no dealership as we would know it, like you would see on the highway. And those are usually what our used cars are sold out of. And usually the first time you get to see the car is when you go and they go pick it up from wherever they have it parked and bring it to you. But buyer beware of all that. And just wanted to let people know that best, if you can, work with licensed, authorized, new used car dealers that have a dealership with a service center.
Okay. Like I said before, if it's they must disclose if in an accident or repair work on new, used, or leased cars if they're selling it to you. These are some of the terms I was mentioning before, the vocabulary of the motor vehicle sales world and leasing world. There is a free download from our website if you're thinking about leasing, and it has the explanation of all of these terms. We don't have enough time in our program to go through everything, but you should know before you go. That's what I say. Auto leasing, when you sit down and you're signing papers and they say, sign this, sign this, sign this. Here's one paper that you may not want to sign because you give up your right. It's a waiver. But you have the opportunity to take the paper home, not the car, but the paper with all the numbers, because it gets confusing sometimes if you're in there. And you have one 24-hour business day before you have to sign it, but it gives you a chance to review everything. So if you don't like something in the pricing of the lease, you have an opportunity to cancel that with no repercussions. That's what the document looks like. If Consumer Affairs asks for a copy and they're doing an investigation, they have to give it to Consumer Affairs. And they have to maintain a copy at the dealership. And must be fully completed. They can't leave blanks. Then that gives them the opportunity to go back and put in things at a later time. Purchasing pre-owned vehicles. Maybe you could talk about the titles and
And when you get the title and you want to and you're purchasing a pre-owned vehicle, you want to make sure it's properly filled out, it's properly signed by the seller, and it's properly everything is good and above board. All the it's not a salvage title, it's not a flood title. You want to make sure that it's a good, clean, clear title before you register, before you buy the vehicle. Anytime you go to a dealership, the dealership should have the title in hand. And even a used car dealership, they should have the title in hand. And upon the end of the purchase, they should transfer, give you the title with the transfer documents, so that if you're going to do it yourself, go to motor vehicle yourself and transfer the title into your name, you can do so. Or if not, you pay their fees and then have them do it. And they should tell you when to come pick up the plates and your registration once it's done, and your title once it's done. If the title has to go to a bank or a lien holder, then they should facilitate that also. You just got to be careful to make sure that the title, make sure it is clear that it's not a flood title, it's not a salvage title, because then there's definitely big problems with that vehicle. Or if the vehicle looks pristine and there's no big problems with it at this time, somewhere down the line there's going to be a problem with that vehicle because of that. So just make sure your title is clean and make sure that they have it. Because one of the problems that we get into all the time is that these dealerships will sell the vehicle without having the title, and they think that the 30 days that they give you on your temporary registration is time enough to figure out or fill out or get everything done. And this way they'll have your plates and everything to you before the temporary title runs out. And more, because of the pandemic, with everything else going on, that's not the case. So if they don't have the title in hand, do not purchase the vehicle. I just had a case I settled the beginning of this week. The dealership could not get the title for the consumer. They had to take the vehicle back and refund the consumer their entire purchase price. And this is after the consumer had the car for that 30 days and had done some actual upgrade repairs to the car once he purchased it, once he had it in his possession. So yes, if they don't have the title, red flag. And if you pay for the car in cash or you pay for it in full and they don't transfer the title to you immediately, red flag. Don't do it. Don't do it. Also, when you purchase a vehicle, make sure you do not buy the vehicle as is. Buy a vehicle as is in the state of New Jersey. That means the vehicle is yours. Once you drive it off that lot, anything wrong with that vehicle is your responsibility. And as a New Jersey resident, if you're buying a vehicle in New Jersey and it's going to be registered in New Jersey, do not sign the waiver of the dealer's obligation. The waiver of the dealer's obligation means that the dealer is obligated to make sure that the car passes New Jersey motor vehicle inspection. If it doesn't, then the dealership is responsible for any and all repairs for your vehicle free of charge to you, so the vehicle can pass New Jersey state inspection. If you are out of state, though, that does not apply.
Also, only sign one loan application. We've only had one case that I know of where they had the person sign 3 loan applications. Oh, we're trying to get you the best rate. Sign here, sign here, sign here. And they submitted all 3 loans, which is no longer, it's a regular criminal offense. And the lady got her car repoed, and she was paying the one company legitimately and didn't pay the other 2 companies. So they came and took her car, and with the one bank, she was paying on time. But the dealership submitted 3 loans. So. Okay, I just threw this stat in. 71% of U.S. vehicle buyers still prefer in-person sales experience. Only 64% want to conduct a test drive. If you're going to drive a car, buy a car, you want to drive it before you buy it. Make sure it runs good. Make sure you're comfortable with it. This was a case we had a couple of years ago, and person bought the vehicle online and then got shipped to Florida. When it got to Florida, they couldn't steer the car because the whole underbody was rusted out along with the steering. They did a good thing right when they got the car and there was a problem. They took it to an authorized Toyota dealership, and they documented everything. And eBay worked with our department, and we were able to ship the car back and get the person the $29,000 back and charge the dealership with fraud. As Al said before, don't buy it as is. You lose all your protections. This is what Al was talking about before. You want to talk about it, Al?
Yeah, as I said, this is just to show everybody about buying a vehicle as is and or signing the waiver of the dealer's obligation. It's right there in the contract. If it's checked and you signed it, you're waiving your rights to anything. And like I said, in the state of New Jersey, the vehicle must pass New Jersey state inspection minimally. So you must make sure that you're able to hold the dealership to that. And you don't want to buy the vehicle as is, because the dealer hereby expressly disclaims all warranties, either expressed or implied, including any implied warranties of fitness. And that means once you drive the car off the lot, any repairs that need to be done are your responsibility.
And it may look a little different depending on the dealership.
Depending on the dealership or
Here's
depending
another
on
example.
Here's another example, yes. Yep. Do not waive dealer's obligations. Sign the obligation. Keep them obligated to making sure your car passes inspection.
And I'll mention this before, get the car inspected within that first 14 days. If there's an inspection sticker on and you're like, I'm good for 6 months, you don't take it, you could give up some of your rights. So I would take the inspection sticker off the car and take it for inspection. If it fails, then the dealer has some responsibility if it's within that time period. This is only for vehicles purchased in New Jersey and registered in New Jersey. Say lemon laws. Basically, the state handles all the lemon law cases, but if it's purchased, leased, or registered, and it's one of these vehicles on the list, passenger car, motorized RV, fire trucks, ambulance, SUVs, even motorcycles, you're protected for 2 years, 24,000 miles, but it's on only a few things. Makes the car go, makes the car stop, major safety thing. If your radio's not working, that actually falls under a warranty. It doesn't fall under lemon law. Things like that. The seat's not working right, that would be a warranty issue versus, the car shutting off while you're driving, it's a problem with the brakes, things like that.
And just to clarify on the motorized RV, the motorized RV is only the engine, brake parts, transmission, things like that. It doesn't have to do anything with the interior of the vehicle, the bedroom, the bathrooms, the kitchen space. That's not included. Also, the one thing that we need to add to this also for people is, a lot of people don't realize, but the lemon law also covers motorized wheelchairs too.
Yep.
So that's another thing they can look into.
And some of this is on our website too. So this is just to give you some insight. If you start having a problem, just call us and ask us some questions, and we'll put you in the right direction. So you got to send us a certified letter after a certain amount of time period. You'll be making a log. Like I said, you should make a log, who you talked to at what times and what position they were. And if it puts the car out of service for a certain amount of days, these are all things that that would affect and fall into the lemon law. Pre-owned cars is lemon law too. It doesn't cover very much, and there's some exclusions where vehicles aren't covered. Depends on their age, mileage. If you bought it as is, it's not covered. And vehicles not purchased from a dealer, it's not covered. So if you buy one from another person on Craigslist or something, it wouldn't fall under this lemon law.
All right, so if you buy any vehicles on a person to person, they're not covered by any consumer fraud laws, to be quite honest with you. It has to be from a dealer or from somebody that has license to sell motor vehicles. And that includes if somebody leaves a car at a repair shop and they ask the repair guy to leave it on their lot and sell it through his repair shop. Technically, that's a person-to-person sale because it's from the owner of the car to the person that's buying it.
And if they got a hold of a Lemon vehicle that was and fixed it up, and it was branded a Lemon vehicle in the past, it would be an L on the title, and that wouldn't be covered. Just like Al was saying, same kind of thing. You got a little responsibility to send letters and stuff, but on motorized wheelchairs, and that would be the same thing as a car, stop and going, major safety thing. If the seat rips or the handles coming loose, it would probably be under warranty. Getting your vehicles repaired. Reputable shops should have a conspicuous place where there's a sign that you could read, if the dealer looks at the car, makes a diagnostic examination, he has the right to charge you for examining the car, even if you choose not to get it fixed there. Most of the times it's just rolled into the estimate, and they don't charge you. But if you think you're going to find out what's wrong and then take it to your buddy down the street, it's not fair to the dealership either. So they spent time to try and find out what the problem was. Making deceptive, misleading statements, false promises. A study at a Northwestern University found auto shops quoted higher prices to women who appeared uninformed about work needed to be done. So they may try to upsell you. Like my wife was there the one time. She's getting a catalytic converter. I go to pick up the car, and they're like, I said it was supposed to be $2,800. It's $4,000. How did that happen? Oh, we called your wife. We said it would probably need shocks. Well, probably need shocks. Does it need shocks? You got to ask these people questions, even if you're not very knowledgeable. Or do a little background right before you take the car in. Look on the internet. Look up the symptoms of the car so you get a little knowledge. But they will try to add on extra things, especially at big dealerships.
And the other thing I want to interject here is when you get an estimate on your repair, the estimate should include a not to exceed price. So you should have a price for what it's going to cost to repair the vehicle, an estimated price for what it's going to cost to repair the vehicle, and that the price should not exceed that. And if any new things need to be done with the car, or they find any other things wrong with the vehicle, they have to notify you, and you have to give them an approval, which they must properly document, or you must give them that approval in writing. If not, it's not allowed to happen. So this way, these are some of the things that are put in place to protect you from them not just piling on repairs. Because what happens is they're not only going to tell you what's wrong with your vehicle, they're going to tell you probably what your vehicle is going to need in the near future, and they're going to try to talk you into having those repairs done at that time. You also do have the right to ask them to see any parts they repair or replace, right? And within reason, you could actually ask them to give those parts to you. Of course, you're not going to ask them for an engine or a transmission or a rear end, but it's just to the fact of the matter, how many times we've seen it where a person needed a starter for their car. And I know back in the day, that's what they used to do. They used to take the starter out, they used to paint it a different color and put it back in the car. And we've caught a couple people we've caught a couple repair shops doing things like that. So you do have the right as a consumer to see the parts that are replaced or repaired. There's some parts that do have cores that have to be returned, so they can get paid for it. But you do still have the right to see it, so you know that the repair was done and that the new part was put in your vehicle.
Also, if you sign anything, you're supposed to be given a copy of it right after you sign it. So any type of receipt, whether it's you dropping the car off for an oil change or you're getting major work done on the car, if you sign something, they're supposed to give you a copy. We did this, a request to review the parts. I'll cover this. If there's any guarantees, warranties, or anything, that also has to be listed on the invoice.
You should also get a copy of that guarantee, and it should fully explain to you what is covered, what's not covered, so on and so forth, and if there are any limitations on pricing or what your if there's any kind of charge or anything. All that stuff should be included, and if you have any deductibles, that should also be included.
They should ask you if you want if you drop it off at night or something and leave the key there, and they call you, they should write down things like the date and time of the person granting the authorization to fix it, and your telephone number, and who contacted you. So if there's any problem in the future, it could at least we have some information on that. That's about it. I think we could turn this off and go to questions if anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions? No, you were both very thorough, so at this point we don't have any questions, but on this slide we have contact information.
Yep.
And if there's any follow-up after any of the YouTube viewings or on our when we go out onto the local TV stations, please don't hesitate to get in touch with Investigator Niland or Investigator Gailes. So their contact information appears here for you, phone number and email addresses.
You could also search us on the internet, and we pop up. And like I said, our website's a good tool to use also.
And your Facebook page.
Yeah.
I did go out there, and I was very impressed with what was out there in terms of what was it, recalls and things.
The latest trending issue is since the COVID, a lot of these car companies, the rentals, had problems financially because they were counting on rental income. They had to sell some of them up to 70% of their fleet. Now people are starting to travel, and it's very difficult to get a rental car in some locations, and it's a widespread issue, and they tend to overcharge. So if you're thinking of traveling, and you could book a rental car, book it way ahead of time, and make sure there's no cancellation fees if you book it in case your vacation plans change. But definitely in certain parts of the United States, even as part of the United States, but like Hawaii was a big one, having problems. Pretty much everybody needs rental cars once they get there. Some other locations you could take Uber and you're staying on the resort, you don't have to go places. But if you're going to need a rental car, that could be an issue during this next year.
That's very interesting. What I found, but I have to tell you, the most surprising thing was the coverage under lemon law of the motorized vehicles. And I certainly will include that in part of our description of the of your presentation when we put it out there with the schedule of airings on the local TV stations and on YouTube. So I want to thank you again, Investigator Gailes and Investigator Niland, for this presentation. And we look forward to planning our next 30-minute scam and fraud update. I know we've been talking about doing something about solar panels and something about mortgages and different other areas. If anyone has a request for any coverage of any area, please let us know. So without further ado then, we will close this session of Wednesdays in the Hub and look forward to the next 30-minute scam and fraud update.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.